And we are back. What an amazing session by Khushbu on leveraging AI for digital businesses. I think it was amazing. I think it was extremely insightful. And please show some love to Khushbu on the chat. Let her know how the session was. I think it would be a great appreciation for her as well. And don't forget to show appreciation for Brent as well, one of our star hosts for this event. I'm going to be taking you guys forward with this event with a panel discussion. But before that, I have a few announcements to make. This is a reminder for the Easter egg activity that we have been doing throughout this session. We have hidden some Easter eggs very strategically on different areas of the event. You might see some on the stage, you might see some on the expo, you might see some on the lobby. So make sure to go around the event platform and look for those Easter eggs and refer to the doc in the comment section, which is pinned over there, so that you can submit your Easter egg findings by the end of this event. So, and the winners obviously will be announced by the end of day two, which is tomorrow. Now, moving on to the session. This session is basically on AI and WordPress, and today we have an amazing panel for you guys to enjoy. So, I'm going to be pulling up our panelists one by one on the stage, giving an introduction about everyone. So first up is James LePage. James is the Director of Engineering AI at Automattic, leading innovations at the intersection of WordPress and artificial intelligence. Uh, so thank you so much, James, for being here at the event and being here with us for this panel discussion. Next up is Jeffrey B. Paul, Director of Open Source at 10up and longtime WordPress core contributor. Jeffrey, it's an amazing pleasure for you to be here and honored to have you on the stage with us. Next up, Felix Arntz, Senior Software Engineer at Google and WordPress core committer. He is focused on improving performance and user experience across the open web. And last but not the least, Pascal Birchler, Senior Developer Relations Engineer at Google and co-lead of the WordPress AI team. So this is a powerhouse panel over here, guys. If you are a WordPress fan, if you have been using WordPress for regardless of what period of time, this session is for you because WordPress is doing a lot in terms of AI, and this session is all about that. This session is about what WordPress is doing in the AI space. How is it beneficial to agencies and to small businesses, and how anyone in fact can benefit from the AI capabilities of our favorite CMS. So thank you everyone for being here. It's an honor, it's a pleasure to have the entire WordPress AI team on the panel for this event. Before I move on to the question, just wanted to make another announcement that when we started this event, there was an issue with the chat. What I want all the viewers to do is just refresh your page so that the issue can be resolved, because obviously it's resolved at the back end. But if you can just refresh for the safe side, you won't be seeing this issue from now on. All right, so let's move on for the session, and let's move on to the questions, in fact. So my first question is obviously around AI and the WordPress vision, right? I mean, and this goes to, I think, James LePage. I would want your sort of opinion on this first. Uh, what are your individual lenses into the intersection of AI and WordPress, and what do you expect to bring to the AI team?
Yeah, sure. We'll do the roundtable. So my fascination with WordPress started 10-ish years ago, and I was a freelancer and then formed an agency and worked through that agency. And in university, I studied AI. And as AI became more powerful in what we all think about AI as today with these generative models and these LLMs, I began to very much so fixate on how we can lift WordPress up with this technology. WordPress is this super massive open source project that powers so much of the internet, and my livelihood and so many others' livelihoods are based on this platform. I saw a pretty big opportunity personally and individually with AI and WordPress in building these sites, in helping maintain and manage these sites, and then in extending and creating new experiences on the open web for the folks who visit the sites that we build. So that was kind of my immediate focus. I then formed a startup, very creatively named WPAI, to go and build with that. And that experience in WordPress and AI, and also my day job here at Automattic, building AI products through this company, with a really talented group of folks, is kind of that aspect of what I bring to this team, the understanding of deeply understanding AI, deeply understanding WordPress, and figuring out how do we build the building blocks for other developers and also the features for individuals to really allow WordPress to thrive in this AI era. I'll pass it off to Jeff.
Yeah, so I come, at this WordPress AI team from the agency side of things, right? Fueled and 10up. We've historically built, not just sites or apps for clients like, Google, Microsoft, Warby Parker, and some large government entities as well. But we also, through the open source practice that I help run, maintain 24 different plugins in the WordPress space, contribute to WordPress core, and then partner with folks that want to build open source projects as well. And we've been working on ClassifAI, which is an AI plugin in this space since 2018. So we've got some very historical understanding of what the space was like back then, how it's advanced to now. And so, coming to the WordPress AI team with that lens in mind, right? Like the agency kind of enterprise use cases, and just the concerns you need to worry about when you're building a plugin that is used by folks both at the agency side and down to like the general consumer side of things. So, which is going to be different experience than Pascal and James and Felix, but I think extremely valuable to the team to have that agency consumer focus. And then in terms of the project, I've been active since call it like August of 2016, 2017. In working on major releases, so very familiar with just how things work within WordPress core, and excited to pair with the folks here to elevate what the project can do from an AI perspective, not in a fragmented way with different people going in different directions, but trying to have a concerted, centralized approach, and building those things from core outwards that then others can leverage to do some really interesting work in the AI and WordPress space. And I will tag Pascal to go next.
Sure, thanks. Yeah, so my background is more from the WordPress contributor, like core committer side of things. So I've been doing WordPress for like almost 20 years, almost as long as WordPress exists, basically. And I did a lot of work on the performance team, which is also relatively new. And I think for the AI team, we want to pursue like a similar approach with like feature projects and feature plugins that we did with the performance lab. I also have a background with WP-CLI, so the official command line tool for WordPress, which I'm a maintainer of. And there, especially, I did some explorations with MCP support in WordPress. WordPress is like an MCP server, but also client. I also am a huge advocate of web AI, so anything that can run on device in your browser without any third parties. And those are the things that I want to push a little bit. Felix.
Yeah, I've kind of a little similar background to Pascal. I've also been contributing to WordPress core for many years. Actually, I got my 10-year contributor versary coming up in 5 days, so I'm very excited for that. Yeah, I've been contributing to WordPress core since then. Heavily focused on one of my favorite things is building APIs. So I've been involved maintaining the REST API component of WordPress for a long time. And in the more recent years, one of the co-founders of the performance team. And as Pascal said, we would like to bring some of the successful approaches of the performance team to that new AI team. And then for AI specifically, my intersection with WordPress is that I started this plugin called AI Services last year, which is supposed to close the gap between developers wanting to build AI features in their plugins and having to do all the plumbing themselves to even connect to an AI provider, which that leads, we don't need to get into this just yet, but it leads to a bunch of different problems the way it's currently going. Most developers for plugin, when they build a plugin, they want to build AI facing features. They don't want to build the plumbing. But I love building APIs, so I'm really happy to take that load for other developers. So that's kind of how I got to AI.
Yeah, that's awesome, guys. And I think that sort of brings me to my next question, because you each individually, reflected on what your focuses are and what your priorities sort of are based on your own experiences and preferences. But what are the current focuses of this WordPress AI team? Like, what it is currently working on right now as we speak?
Yeah, I'll
Uh,
jump in, and folks can kind of fill in the gaps if I forget anything. So first off, I'm going to put a link in the chat to make.wordpress.org/AI. That is where you can understand everything that we're doing. And this team, like mentioned by Pascal and Felix, is modeled off of the performance team. The performance team did a lot of things and does a lot of things really well, including communication. Like, here's what we're doing, here's why we're doing it, here's how we're doing it. We're trying to do the same with AI. To answer the explicit question of what we're focusing on, the first focus of this team is enabling developers within WordPress to build in a unified way. And as Felix kind of alluded to with his AI services work, but also related to a lot of other things AI adjacent in WordPress, we have noticed over the past couple of years, as AI has become more powerful and more prevalent in software, a lot of people doing their own things. And when you do your own things, there's a lot of duplication of work. So somebody may choose to interact with OpenAI or Anthropic in their own special way. And then another plugin re-implements the same exact thing. That can be the same case for how we're exposing this functionality to these LLMs and to this AI. It can be the same case for how we interact with WordPress and AI externally. So the focus of this group is to say, okay, now within the WordPress project, there is this core group, and this is the surface that all of the AI work can go through. And all of the people building AI in WordPress can look at this group and say, here's what I'm doing and here's what I'm thinking. And it's up to us to say, okay, from all of this mind share, we're going to go and create and maintain these shared building blocks, these shared packages for you, the developer, to use and infuse AI into your own plugins. These building blocks will also be used to extend WordPress core, should that become something we want to do in the future, because this is work stewarded by this core team. There are three primary building blocks, and they're mentioned in the makewordpress.org/AI blog. And those three building blocks are a provider-agnostic LLM client abstraction, and that is what Felix just mentioned. How can we make it so, regardless of what plugin or regardless of what solution or implementation you are developing, it's all interacting with AI providers in this one unified, easy way that's helpful for the developer because it's one simple and single implementation. It's helpful for the end user because there's, for example, one place that you put these API keys, not 5 different places. In addition, another focus is tool and resource definition and registration. So if we can talk to AI models, we also need to be able to provide these models in a unified way, almost a list of what WordPress has to offer and what these things can do on WordPress. could be as simple as, hey, I want you to just stream text into this input field. But it can be more complex, where it's a plugin registering a lot of these tools and capabilities and saying, AI and developers, you can go and build in this specific and unified way to connect to this LLM, and then go and look at these features and abilities that are exposed by this plugin and do things with that plugin. Final thing is an integration bridge, primarily focused on MCP. As Pascal mentioned, he has a lot of background and experience in experimenting with that. MCP is the most predominant protocol to allow software to talk to third-party AI. And that plugs into our general strategy of, if we can register the features and abilities of WordPress core and individual plugins in a unified way, then we can expose them out to clients like Claude and OpenAI. So those are the 3 building blocks, and there's more detail in the blog, makewordpress.org/AI. And all of these 3 building blocks are intended to enable other developers to build in a unified way, allow us to experiment and explore should AI features be brought closer to WordPress core. And all of these packages and tools are built in this canonical plugin style that was kind of proven to work very well with the performance team. And it allows us to iterate pretty quickly, get these things out to folks in a formal, official way, and explore should these things be brought closer to core, merged into core, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what we are currently focused on as the AI team. Am I forgetting
Awesome.
anything?
Yeah, awesome, James. That was my next question. So is there anything else that anyone else wants to add, Pascal, Phoenix, or Jeffrey, if that James may have missed out, or anything else that you want to add to this thought?
I'll jump on and just note that a lot of what James talked through there are kind of like developer experience tooling sorts of things. And I think just want to amplify that I think all of us have seen individually, as we built things in the AI space, the kind of table stakes things that you have to build to get to actually like having benefit of AI doing a thing for you. This team is hoping to help alleviate a lot of that to then power what people want to build on top of those toolings. There is a demo showcase plugin that we're intending as well that will kind of show how some of that can work within the WordPress admin and authoring experience. But it's also not just going to be the 4 of us, right? Like James, Felix, Pascal are extremely brilliant. I'm along for the ride, but it's really the community, right, that is going to hopefully help contribute to these developer experience tooling sorts of things, and then also have the really brilliant ideas, the clients they're working for, the sites they're building for themselves. They're going to help create what is really the WordPress AI functionalities that are coming in the future. It's not just going to be us 4. So like, while we're trying to shepherd this process along the way, we do need people to come, as James mentioned, to the AI team and to our Make blog and to the Slack channel to help contribute and bring these ideas in. So like, while we do have a foundational roadmap in mind, from there, we're just trying to fuel the ideas from the community. So it's not just us. It really is, others that are interested in being at that intersection of WordPress and AI to join us on this, right? It's not just us 4. There's only so much we could do realistically anyway.
And to add to Jeff, you said the big focus is right now on developer experience, which I would agree with, but I just want to call out that this is eventually going to benefit user experience, because that's why we're doing this. We're not just building something nice for developers, but we build it because without having this, there are certain problems that developers are facing that then translate to user problems. Like one of the examples, I think James, you hinted at that, is on the provider agnostic side, from the provider connection side. Today, as a developer, you have to implement this by yourself, and then, because it's a lot of work to do that, you probably only do it for one provider, because you're not going to do the same thing 10 times for 10 providers. That leads in the end to a user facing problem, because let's think this further. We don't only use one plugin on our WordPress site. So let's say at some point in the future, you use 10 AI-based plugins in WordPress, and you would need to get subscriptions with, let's say, 5 different model providers. that would get expensive, and it would get unnecessarily expensive for you, right? Like many users have their preferred models, their preferred provider, and it would be great if they could use that without not be forced into we're using another one just because I want to use that plugin. And that's one of the user-facing problems that some of our tooling hopefully will solve via going through developer experience, but at the end the goal is to improve user experience.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, because initially the focus felt like it was too much towards developers and improving their workflows and benefiting them mostly. But Felix, you mentioned it very correctly that the goal is to improve user experience at the end of it, right? At the end of the day, we want to improve user experience for WordPress users. Which sort of brings me to my next question, and just want our audience to basically know that is there a roadmap or aspirations for these focuses? I mean, you mentioned benefiting developers, you mentioned benefiting user experience at the end user. So is there a roadmap? Have you started working on things that we can show, anything substantial that has been already is in the works that you can basically tell people about? Anyone can take this. I mean, Jeffrey, if you want to start, or Pascal, yeah, anyone.
In short, we are working on it.
Yeah, it's not there. Yeah. Go ahead.
So we discussed some of the major focus areas that James mentioned in the past, and like the bi-weekly Slack meetings that we have in the WordPress Slack. We're planning on publishing more thorough roadmap, hopefully very soon.
Yeah, and also related to that, with the shared package or with the shared building blocks approach and the messaging around that, and also kind of why this team exists and shaped up the way it did. Each of these building blocks are essential to create AI experiences in WordPress. And each of these already have not been solved and not been proved, but at least experimented with by folks on this team. So for example, Felix worked on AI services, which will directly inform how this shared thing exists. So if agency owners or individual developers are interested in the thoughts there, you can look at that prior reference and you can look at some of the messaging and information that we'll be publishing soon about that. Same with the unified way to register tools and resources on WordPress. Automattic built a features API for that specific reason. And that's something that will be then shaped into a project that goes closer to core. Same with the MCP work. Pascal worked on AI command, Automattic worked on WordPress MCP. And even ClassifAI is a great example of how you can tie a lot of these things together into user-facing features for users. So with all of that said, there will be more messaging in the future as to how these packages shape into these building blocks that are these official core canonical plugins. But there's also reference that already exists. And right now is the time to be a part of these conversations and looking at these packages and saying, hey, my agency or my plugin or my client could absolutely use these specific things. And I'm seeing it missing from these building blocks. Is there a way to include that into the design of these APIs? Is there a way to do this in the future? Is there a way to do this now? And that's really important for us because, as Jeff said, it's for people right in this room. And we're the ones helping define and steward this work. But this work isn't going to happen without community involvement on the input side of things and on the contribution side of things.
Awesome. Now let's move on from this specific team and what it is doing to a bit more generic point of view that I want from every one of you. And I want to put the spotlight first on Jeffrey by asking that how is AI currently being used in WordPress site building tools, for example, like Elementor or Bricks, or maybe others that I missed out?
I mean, I know that Miriam and the Elementor team, like probably other large plugin shops, other page builder companies, as well as hosts in the space, have various AI tooling. So folks that are leveraging those tools, be that Elementor bricks or existing on a particular host, those all have AI functionalities. A lot of the AI functionalities can be similar in a way of generating text, generating images, perhaps generating entire sites or pages of content, right? But kind of the problem that the project sees at the project level is that is all being individually done with those hosts, those plugin companies, and not having a kind of a centralized approach to a similar developer experience, a similar user experience. So that's what this team is trying to put in place. For folks that are using Elementor and some of these other tools that you mentioned, hopefully they're familiar of what those teams have built. And hopefully what the WordPress AI team does will help those teams, focus more on, their specific user base and the needs that they have that are, there might be some things that are shared with the needs that are coming from the WordPress core team and the WordPress AI team. But then also things that are unique to their audiences, for Elementor or specific hosts. So don't know if there was, specific AI functionality you were curious about there. I can certainly talk about functionality that I know that we built into Classify. So yeah, Moise, don't know if that covered what you're looking for there.
Yeah, that was great because right now, like we are in like seeing on a daily basis almost that AI site builders are popping up every now and then, right? I mean, and tools that are already working on site builders that are already built on this foundation are adapting AI to further ease the process of building their websites. And now I think even some hosting companies have started to roll out site buildings and site builders and AI site builders for that matter. So just wanted your thoughts on how AI specifically is being currently used by WordPress companies, think brands that are sort of using WordPress and sort of leveraging it for the users. Anyone else wants to add anything to what Jeffrey just said? James, Felix,
Yeah,
any 2 cents? Yeah.
I want to shout out the Automattic AI website builder through WordPress.com. That's a WordPress.com product, but it creates sites in native Gutenberg. And then I'll also shout out in a competitor-friendly way the Stellar Sites team. They have a really interesting product as well that does a similar type of onboarding experience in WordPress. And then recently at WCEU, there were several smaller companies kind of showcasing some of their AI features. For example, the plugins team for an AI plugin search and a related AI agent for WordPress, and then also some smaller projects. I know the developer behind Command UI is working on an AI feature as well. And we're kind of seeing this blossoming of AI because people in WordPress need it. But as Jeff said, all of these things are being built in kind of fragmented ways. And it could be more efficient if we're all sharing the same packaging. And also when you think about kind of the end state of what happens when every plugin in WordPress and every solution in WordPress has AI, it will be helpful to be using these shared packages to be able to hand off and be able to not have conflicts or clashes between Elementor flowing into maybe a support agent within the WordPress admin or examples like that. So there's a blossoming and it's nice to see, but it's also something that I would love to, number one, enable more people to do easier. And number two, make it easier for those already building AI to accelerate and share the common things that everybody's building.
Awesome. My next question, I think it would be very interesting for the developers and designers that we have in our audience today. And I wanted your opinion on how do you think that the role of a web developer or a designer evolves in the next 3 to 5 years, with obviously the advent of AI. Where do you think that these roles are sort of going, and how can developers and designers sort of adapt to this change? I want Pascal to sort of shed light on this because he regularly speaks with developers, and he may have some good insights for us. So Pascal, you're on.
Thanks. So what I would say is many developers maybe at the moment would think like, oh, AI is gonna replace me and will take my job because it can do all the coding for me. But I think AI is more an enabler for developers. Like it will enhance your skills and make you a better developer. It can take some of the boring tasks away from you and help you really get off the ground quickly and really enhance your skills and not replace your skills. So that's where I am seeing developers heading in the next few years or even months, because it's such a fast-paced thing.
To
Awesome.
me,
Yeah.
I would agree with that. It's I think AI as a developer can give you a big productivity boost, and especially on tedious tasks. There's sometimes as a developer you need to do something that you have to do, but it's super boring, and especially often those tasks are perfect use cases for AI, because AI can, like, I think very structured tasks is what AI is really good at, and so they can take a lot of work away. It can take a lot of work away from you. That would otherwise be tedious, but it's not going to take your job away from you, because critical thinking, architecture of a software project, AI is not going to be able to solve that, at least not anytime soon. I doubt it's, never say never, but it's going to take a long time until it can realistically compete with us humans in that. And I think one thing I want to call out is maybe in the long run, as a developer, you need to focus more on, think about today. There is team leads that lead teams of developers that kind of rather than doing all the coding themselves, they kind of oversee the coding, make sure everything is going well and is aligned. And I think that's where maybe with AI, that skill set becomes more important with time, because you may not direct another team of people, but you may direct a set of AI agents to do some coding tasks for you. So that doesn't mean, like, I don't know, I'm not personally, for example, I'm not a big people person, so you don't have to be a big people person to do that work, but you have to maybe, I think it's important to step up like your communication, like in terms of, and of course that communication works differently between people and AI, but some of the skill set is adjacent between leading an effective engineering team of people, but also leading an effective team of AI agents.
Yeah, I'll also chime in terms of my agency experience. So back in 2018, I think we actually used ClassifAI because they had and still do have an alt text feature for images. And that was one of those examples of something that we didn't really want to do, but alt text is very important in terms of accessibility. It's something that you should do for your clients. And for us, it was like, I would much rather devote my time and my developers' time towards solving the problems that the client has come to us with, because this is why we're hired. We're hired to solve the client's problems. So let's think about the design and the flow of the site and the look and the feel. And if we're going to build custom plugins, or if we're going to glue together existing solutions, and the stuff that we get hired for. And that was something that we used a long time ago, before even the generative boom. And now within Automattic, we're building these products to help alleviate some of that tedious work. I don't think it's going to replace the need for agencies, and it might in fact make the skill set of agencies and developers even more valuable, because even now, like, folks, if they really wanted to, could build a site, and they could build a site through Gutenberg or Elementor or Bricks, but they choose not to, because they run their businesses and they have their own priorities and focuses, and they hire an expert to think about this for them. So I can kind of see the role of how we do these things changing in the future, and maybe the tooling and the process changing a bit. But in terms of why folks get hired and the jobs that we do, I don't really think that will change. And I think, like Felix mentioned, the critical thinking, the ability to really go and connect with the client and understand their needs and translate that to, here's how I will go and actually solve your problem. And in many cases, I will be coding and developing and designing. In some cases, I will be assigning that work off to these agents or AI assistants or whatever that looks like. Just as we kind of transitioned from pure HTML to custom themes to using page builders, it'll just be an evolution in how we interact with our clients.
Yeah, I don't want to be left out of the squared answer. I guess I'll jump in and answer too. I shared this the other day, and I probably should have gone back and double checked the actual source of it. But I know Phil Crum, who heads technology at Fueled, kind of summarized it as, it's not AI that's going to come and steal your job. It's somebody that's smartly, expertly leveraging AI that you need to be worried about, right? So developers, designers, project managers, if they're not exploring how AI can be used, if they're not actively leveraging it, like Felix mentioned, to kind of offload some of the maybe redundant things that aren't interesting and leveraging their creative time to be creative, right? Let the human brain do that. That's where you're going to fall down, right? Like you're going to lose out to agencies that are smartly, creatively, using AI. That's going to be the difficult bit, and not that just AI is purely going to come and take all of our jobs itself.
Awesome, really good insights, guys. Let's move on to the Q&A from the chat. I think we have time for a couple of them. So let's see what the chat looks like. I saw a very interesting question from Jill, by the way, which is a follow-up of a previous question. But what I think she's trying to ask is, are you basically building your own AI platform? Is it like a new product? What are we sort of doing with AI, and what this team is sort of focusing on? So Pascal, can you just briefly answer this question? And I want all of you to sort of chime in as well.
So yeah, I think I have tried to answer that one on the chat, and I hope we answered it a little bit in the discussion before. So we are not building our own AI platform. That wouldn't make sense. I don't think WordPress can compete with the big corporations in like trying to build like its own AI or AI platform. What we do want to do is put together these building blocks and the foundational implementations so that you can use any existing AI platform with WordPress easily without any vendor lock-in, so that you're not tied to a specific provider. But yeah, no custom AI platform.
I also think it depends on what the definition of AI platform is, because with this building blocks approach, there's definitely the ability to say, I'm going to use this model and chain together these various features or abilities and kind of take these building blocks that we've been given and automate things and create AI features and kind of build using the blocks. Like the entire point of our work is to enable that type of stuff. So I wouldn't expect WordPress in 1 year, you fast forwards and you look at version 7.0 or 7.5 and it's this like AI builder platform. But I would expect to see, and I would hope to see, plugins surfacing using these new core features and core adjacent features to go and offer the functionality that the market and users want, which is kind of how WordPress has always operated. You use what WordPress has to offer and you extend it to do what you want. And from that, we got learning management systems and page builders and all of these different things, not created by core, but enabled by core. And I could definitely see things like that happening with the work that we do here. And I would love to see that type of stuff happen.
Awesome. I think we do have time for one more question. Let's see if there's one in the chat that we can pull up on the screen. I do see that we have answered more or less every question that there was on the chat. Yeah, so I think there are more comments rather than questions. It's someone like, for example, Jill says that it's someone who actually knows how to use AI will steal your job, like what Jeffrey said. that it's not AI is going to steal it, but it's going to be someone who knows how to use it better is going to come and replace you. So yeah, I mean, I think this is it from the session for now. We are right on time to conclude this session. I want to thank all the four panelists for being here on this session and taking time out of their busy schedule and to be here and to educate us on what the AI team of WordPress is doing and what they think on different developments in the AI space. So thank you so much, Pascal, Jeffrey, Felix, and James, for being here and making this event even more insightful. And as for you folks, there is an announcement that there is a leaderboard that we have for this event, which winner of which will be announced by the end of day 2. So all you have to do is engage in the event, ask questions, leave comments, interact with the other members, and the more you do that, the more you move up the leaderboards, and the winner will be announced by the end of day 2 tomorrow. So don't forget to do that. After this, we have the AI word hunt. It is an activity, and the winner will get a prize by the end of day 2 as well. So make sure to stick around for that. We will be back in about 10 minutes with the AI word hunt activity. Until then, stick around and don't forget to engage in the event. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you soon. All right.